Picture a person standing in a grocery store holding two items in their hands. One is cheap, quick, and satisfying right now. The other is the better option financially. Maybe a bulk item that saves money over time, or something healthier that pays off later. On paper, the logical choice is obvious. But in reality, many people who are struggling financially will choose the option that gives them immediate satisfaction. From the outside, it's easy to label that choice as irresponsible. But when you look deeper into the psychology of poverty, stress, and human behavior, you start to realize something important. Instant gratification is not just a preference for many broke people. It becomes a coping mechanism. The human brain is not designed to think like a long-term financial planner when it's under stress, and financial struggle creates constant stress. When someone is broke, their mind is rarely calm or relaxed. Instead, it's filled with worry about rent, bills, groceries, transportation, debt, and unexpected expenses. Every small decision feels heavy because even a small mistake can cause serious problems. Living like this changes how the brain works. Instead of focusing on the future, the brain becomes obsessed with the present moment because the present moment feels urgent and threatening. This shift in thinking is often called a scarcity mindset. When people experience scarcity, whether it's scarcity of money, time, or resources, their brain starts narrowing its focus. Instead of thinking about long-term goals like retirement, investments, or building wealth, they focus on solving the immediate problem in front of them. If your electricity bill is due tomorrow, thinking about what your savings will look like in 20 years feels irrelevant. Your brain becomes wired to prioritize survival today. That survival-focused thinking slowly reshapes behavior. Immediate rewards start to feel more valuable than delayed ones. A small pleasure today feels real, while a possible benefit years from now feels uncertain. This is one reason why instant gratification becomes so attractive for people living with financial stress. But the story goes deeper than just survival. Imagine spending most of your life hearing the word no. No, you can't afford that vacation. No, you can't buy the newest phone. No, you can't move into a nicer apartment. No, you can't eat at that restaurant. Financial limitations create constant restriction. Over time, those restrictions build emotional pressure. Human beings naturally crave freedom, comfort, and pleasure. When those things are constantly denied, the desire for them becomes even stronger. Instant gratification offers a brief escape from that restriction. For a moment, it allows someone to say yes. Yes, I'll buy this. Yes, I'll treat myself. Yes, I'll enjoy something without thinking about consequences. Even if that feeling only lasts a few hours, it can be incredibly powerful. Many people underestimate how emotionally exhausting poverty can be. Being broke isn't just about having less money. It's about constantly managing anxiety. It's about worrying that one unexpected expense could destroy your entire budget. It's about calculating every decision. It's about comparing prices, delaying payments, and constantly trying to stretch limited resources. All of that mental effort drains cognitive energy. And when cognitive energy is drained, self-control weakens. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon for years. Self-control requires mental energy, just like lifting weights requires physical energy. When people are mentally exhausted, their ability to resist temptation decreases. So when someone who is financially stressed sees an opportunity for instant pleasure, whether it's food, shopping, entertainment, or even gambling, their brain is far more likely to give in. It's not necessarily because they don't understand the consequences. Many broke people understand financial risks very well. The problem is that knowledge alone doesn't overcome emotional fatigue. There is also the issue of uncertainty. People who grow up or live in unstable financial environments often develop a different relationship with the future. If your life experience has taught you that things can fall apart quickly, it becomes harder to trust long-term plans. You might have seen jobs disappear, businesses fail, or emergencies wipe out savings overnight. In that kind of environment, sacrificing present happiness for future security can feel risky. After all, what if the future never turns out the way you expect? From that perspective, enjoying something today can feel like the smarter choice. The present moment feels guaranteed. The future feels hypothetical. This mindset is often misunderstood by people who grew up with financial stability. When someone has always had a safety net, long-term thinking feels natural. They believe that if they save money today, they will likely benefit from it later. Their life experience supports that belief. But for someone who has repeatedly experienced financial setbacks, the future may not feel dependable. The idea of delaying pleasure might feel like constantly postponing happiness for a reward that might never arrive. Another reason instant gratification becomes attractive is social pressure. In modern society, people are constantly exposed to images of success, luxury, and enjoyment. Social media platforms display endless photos of vacations, designer clothing, expensive cars, and glamorous lifestyles. Even if someone logically understands that many of these images are staged or exaggerated, they still create emotional pressure. Nobody wants to feel left behind. When people feel excluded from experiences that seem normal for others, they may spend money to bridge that gap. Buying a trendy item or going out with friends may not be financially wise, but it helps maintain a sense of belonging. Humans are deeply social creatures, and social acceptance can feel just as important as financial security. There is also a powerful emotional link between money and identity. Society often treats wealth as a symbol of success and intelligence. When someone struggles financially, they may feel judged or undervalued. Instant gratification purchases can temporarily counteract that feeling. Buying something new can create a brief sense of achievement. It can create the illusion of progress, even if that progress is only symbolic. Wearing nice clothes, owning a modern phone, or enjoying a night out can help someone feel like they are keeping up with the world around them. Another major factor is how modern financial systems are designed. Today's economy encourages immediate consumption. Credit cards allow people to spend money they don't have yet. Buy no pay later services split purchases into smaller payments. Online shopping apps make purchasing incredibly fast and convenient. All of these tools are built around the concept of instant gratification. They reduce friction between desire and action. Instead of waiting weeks or months to afford something, people can have it immediately. For someone already struggling with financial stress, that convenience can be very tempting. Marketing also plays a huge role. Companies spend billions of dollars studying human psychology. They design advertisements specifically to trigger emotional reactions. Limited time offers, countdown timers, and exclusive deals all create a sense of urgency. Urgency weakens rational thinking. When people feel like they might miss out on something, they are more likely to make impulsive decisions. This strategy works on everyone, but it hits financially vulnerable individuals, especially hard because they already experience scarcity in their daily lives. Another overlooked factor is the unpredictability of income. Many people who struggle financially work in unstable jobs with irregular pay. Gig work, hourly shifts, or seasonal employment can create unpredictable cash flow. When money finally arrives, it can feel like a moment of relief. That relief often triggers spending. After weeks or months of restriction, people may feel a strong urge to reward themselves. This is sometimes called the feast and famine cycle. During the famine phase, people struggle and restrict spending. During the feast phase, they spend quickly because the opportunity feels temporary. This pattern reinforces the cycle of instant gratification. There's also an emotional concept known as learned helplessness. When people repeatedly experience situations where their efforts don't lead to meaningful improvement, they may start believing that their actions don't matter. If someone works extremely hard but still struggles financially year after year, they may start losing faith in long-term strategies. In that situation, focusing on immediate pleasure can feel like the only reliable source of satisfaction. But it's important to understand something crucial. Loving instant gratification does not mean someone lacks discipline. Many broke individuals demonstrate incredible discipline in other areas of their lives. They wake up early for demanding jobs, manage tight schedules, care for families, and survive in difficult conditions. Their discipline is often directed toward survival rather than wealth building. Building long-term wealth requires resources, knowledge, and stability. Without those foundations, long-term financial planning becomes much harder. It's not impossible, but it requires overcoming additional barriers. Another interesting observation is that wealthy people also pursue instant gratification, but the consequences are different. When a wealthy person buys an expensive car or takes a luxury vacation, it rarely threatens their financial stability. Their wealth acts as a buffer that absorbs impulsive decisions. When someone with limited income makes a similar impulse purchase, the impact can be far greater. This difference often leads to unfair judgment. Society criticizes the spending habits of the poor, while ignoring similar behavior among the wealthy. Understanding these dynamics doesn't mean that instant gratification is harmless. In many cases, it can trap people in cycles of debt and financial instability. But solving the problem requires more than simply telling people to be more disciplined. Financial behavior is deeply connected to psychology, environment, and life experience. If someone grows up in a stable household where saving and investing are normal behaviors, they are more likely to adopt those habits naturally. But if someone grows up in an environment where money is always scarce, they may never see those habits modeled. Education plays a major role as well. Many schools do not teach practical financial skills. Students may graduate without understanding how credit works, how compound interest works, or how to build a basic budget. Without that knowledge, people often learn about money through trial and error, and those errors can be expensive. Another powerful force is emotional regulation. People use spending as a way to manage emotions. Shopping can reduce boredom, loneliness, sadness, or stress. The moment someone buys something they want, the brain releases dopamine, a chemical associated with pleasure and reward. That dopamine spike creates a temporary mood boost. Over time, the brain starts associating spending with emotional relief. For someone dealing with constant financial anxiety, that relief becomes extremely attractive. However, the relief is temporary. Once the excitement fades, the financial consequences remain. Bills still need to be paid, and debt can accumulate. This creates a cycle where people chase the emotional high of spending while simultaneously dealing with the stress it creates. Breaking that cycle requires more than financial advice. It requires addressing the emotional reasons behind spending behavior. Support systems can make a huge difference. When people have access to financial education, mentorship, and stable opportunities, their mindset can shift. When someone starts to see real progress, even small progress, their relationship with the future begins to change. Hope is a powerful motivator. When people believe that their actions today will genuinely improve their lives tomorrow, delayed gratification becomes easier. Saving money feels meaningful when you believe it will protect you later. Investing in education feels worthwhile when you believe it will lead to better opportunities. But hope cannot exist in isolation. It must be supported by real opportunities and stable environments. Instant gratification often dominates when people feel trapped. When life feels unpredictable and stressful, immediate pleasure becomes one of the few accessible rewards. Understanding this dynamic is important because it shifts the conversation from blame to awareness. Instead of asking why broke people make impulsive financial choices, we can ask deeper questions about the conditions that shape those choices. Financial stability allows people to think long-term. Stability gives people the mental space to plan, save, and invest. Without stability, survival takes priority. This is why the conversation about instant gratification should never be reduced to simple moral judgments. Human behavior is complex. Our choices are influenced by stress, environment, culture, psychology, and life experience. When people are struggling financially, their brains are often focused on making it through the day, the week, or the month. In that context, small moments of pleasure can feel incredibly valuable. Instant gratification provides something immediate in a life that often feels uncertain. It provides relief from stress, a sense of control, and a temporary escape from limitations. And sometimes, that brief escape is enough to keep someone going for another day. Understanding that reality doesn't mean encouraging reckless spending, but it does mean recognizing the deeper forces behind financial behavior. When those forces are addressed through education, opportunity, and stability, people naturally begin to shift toward longer-term thinking. Because at the end of the day, most people don't actually want to struggle. Most people want security, freedom, and peace of mind. They want a future that feels stable and predictable. When people truly believe that future is possible, the attraction of instant gratification slowly loses its power.